It's about time we talk about the Green Line. No, like seriously, I can't seem to find a single full-length video from the past 3 years talking about the project in its current form. And not only that, but the Green Line, much like its northern green sister, the Valley Line, is falling into a major trap. Let's talk about it. The Green Line is set to be the biggest infrastructure project in Calgary, comprising of 17.2 kilometers double LRT track, 12 dual platform stations, and like seemingly every other North American LRT project, a fleet of low-floor trains. Interestingly enough, the biggest focus on the Green Line right now is the downtown alignment, but the choice of low-floor trains will, in my opinion, have a bigger long-term effect on the project than the downtown options, though I will get into that later because that is a problem as well. Low-floor trains, or trams as they are colloquially known, are designed for urban areas where street-running track, tight curves, and small stations are all very present. Those small stations are crucial since there is often little space for big platforms, so using a tram allows for more flexibility with space and station design. This does mean, though, that similar to buses, the wheels eat into the interior space on a tram, causing a narrow pinch point between segments, reducing standing space, and making it less navigable for wheelchairs and bikes. On a tram, that's fine since stops are spaced closely together and passengers are frequently boarding and disembarking. But on a metro route such as the Green Line, stations are further apart and many users will be riding for longer distances at once, causing a need for more interior space. Trams are also speed limited. Their construction is designed for lower speeds and they are generally procured with 60 to 70 kilometers per hour speed limits. This isn't uniform. Ottawa's Alstom trains do have speeds above 100 kilometers per hour, but it's common practice for trams to have lower speed limits. Incidentally, the Urbos trains from CAF that the Green Line will use will have speed limits of 70 to 80 kilometers per hour, at least relative to what other people have purchased. Lastly, trams are actually a more expensive choice in the grand scheme. You heard me say it, it is more expensive to go with the low floor option. They are taller than a high-floor train since all the components that are traditionally under the carriage are moved on top. So tunnels and infrastructure need to be taller than typical to accommodate the extra height. And this is especially an issue when creating a long city center tunnel, which is frequently discussed for the Green Line. The extra equipment on top also makes the train more heavy, and their compact design makes them heavier in general, which means that wheels and tracks experience more intense wear and require more frequent expensive maintenance. Annoyingly, making all the floors lower means the wheel maintenance is more difficult and intense because it's harder to access and is more restrictive, which brings up the overall maintenance costs as well. Additionally, I have to ask, why even use trams? The general route is relatively straight, and the southeast segment runs mostly separated with a few crossings. There also remains plenty of space on the north alignment for traffic separation. At that point, just use high-floor LRT metro trains, as seen on both the red and blue line. Let's talk about seemingly the most controversial topic about the Green Line. And of course, it's the downtown alignment. Underground or elevated? That has been the big question, because nobody wants a repeat of 7th Avenue. But let's tackle it, starting from the Beltline towards Eau Claire and then north. Starting at Beltline Station, this is an elevated station currently set to be placed between 1st and 2nd Street on 10th Avenue Southwest, but I would prefer it be placed at the disused Via Rail Station since that offers immediate connections to downtown through an underground tunnel that connects directly to Tower Center, which, by the way, is an underused space with lots of vacancy, as you can see here. Putting the station here would help bring that vacancy down and bring more shops and services directly to transit. This exit also drops riders right at 9th Avenue, as you can see, which does not have any rail transit connectivity currently. This would not prevent a Beltline connection, but would actually create a more seamless link between Tower Center on 9th Avenue and 10th Avenue at Center Street via expanding the underground tunnel that currently connects the platforms between the station. This would be cheaper too, since the station wouldn't need to be elevated and would create a connection point with the disused Via Rail Station, which I would personally like to see used for passenger rail again in the future, though that's a topic for a future video. Running from the Beltline to 7th Avenue, I would have initially preferred an elevated station and a bridge over the CPKC tracks, since at that height an elevated platform is actually closer to ground level than underground, and it offers great potential immediate plus 15 connections. I also reject the premise that elevated rail ruins downtown cities, because for one, if you look at Vancouver and Montreal, their modern examples of elevated rail have been extremely successful. Also, vibrations are not a concern. Think about 7th Avenue for 1 second. That has to be one of the most loudest corridors in the city, and it vibrates constantly due to older technology being used to dampen the sound and just poor maintenance of the corridor. In addition to that, check out this brand new high-rise that was built right next to the elevated segment of the West Line. Clearly, elevated rail is not a noise concern because this high-rise has an outdoor patio facing this rail line, as you can see right here in this video. So I personally reject the premise that elevated rail is too loud, disruptive, and ruins cities. I also think that the visual presence of transit brings attention to it. You know, seeing that there's a train station may make you think, oh, it's cold outside in the winter and driving is dangerous, therefore there's a train, I will take that. It just brings awareness to the whole idea. It's a good idea, and it's not damaging in any way, so I reject that premise. Back to 7th Avenue Station though, the presence of this plus 30 that you can see here would raise the platform to an unrealistic height and make it less accessible to the street. So I would prefer a cut and cover platform close to surface level underground, with a bored or cut and cover tunnel connecting 7th Avenue Station to Beltline Station via a tunnel mouth in this parking lot here. Also, side note, this station needs to be moved from its current planned location between 6th and 7th Avenue 1 block south. That way a future connection to the planned 8th Avenue subway is seamless and not offset. Lastly, let's talk about Eau Claire Station. This station could either be underground or above ground, or actually at grade for that matter, since the lack of plus 15s north of 2nd Avenue doesn't interfere with the station location and construction. Therefore, elevated, underground, and at grade are cheap options. Keeping that in mind, the nature of this station should be tied to what route is chosen over the Bow River, and I have some thoughts on this. The current plan is to build an S-curve bridge over the Bow River from 2nd Street to Center Street, but this is bad. Constructing an alignment like this needlessly limits speed between the 9th Avenue Station and the Eau Claire Station, which is a very long stretch with mostly open space, and there's a much better choice available. The first option would be boring a tunnel from Eau Claire under the Bow River to 9th Avenue in a relatively straight line as follows. This was the original plan, by the way, for the Green Line, but it was cut due to cost savings. This is a fast alignment and would better preserve the existing wetland in the Bow River, and this would also necessitate an underground station at Eau Claire, which could be inconvenient due to how deep it may have to be for people getting off there, but it does speed up the trip time, so it is a worthwhile sacrifice, grade separating it below ground. However, a much more cost-effective option is to build an elevated Eau Claire station and build a bridge across the Bow River, tracing a straight line much like the tunnel. Then, a tunnel mouth can be constructed at Sunnyside Bank Park near 6th Avenue, running underground towards 9th Avenue Station. A tunnel mouth can be constructed on the south side of 9th Avenue Station, much like the 45th Street Station on the Blue Line West, or McEwen Station on the north part of the Metro Line in Edmonton. Now, moving north, let's talk about the Center Street alignment. The current plans are to create a surface-running tram line that tightly integrates with the surrounding community, and potentially have the CTrain run on the outer edge of Center Street instead of running in the median. This is bad. Having the alignment on the edge means installing boom gates and priority measures at intersections is difficult and space inefficient, which means priority measures like this won't get installed. We can see this with the Deerfoot and Memorial Drive crossing in the East End, where only one boom gate is present for an intersection that is wide enough for two. This would be the same kind of issue that would be faced here, with more space constraints spreading the tracks apart. Not installing these priority measures means that traffic light priority will be chosen, but if you watched my video on 7th Avenue, you know that really means timed lighting and not priority. Go watch that video if you haven't yet, since it dives into the issues with our current approach to signal priority downtown. Needless to say, taking 7th Avenue and making the entire alignment in the north run like that is a recipe for disaster and guarantees low ridership. Transit needs to be faster than driving, not slower. I think City Talk sums it up perfectly in his new video about Montreal's East REM project, where he states, "The problem is that the tram tries to do everything at once. It tries to link cities far away in the suburbs to Montreal, but at the same time, it tries to bring more local service to some neighborhoods. So the suburban commuters will be mad because the trams are slow." Calgary needs to take a look at the northeast and northwest segments of the red and blue line, run the trains in the median, and grade separate as many intersections as they can. For the remaining intersections, boom gates need to be used. This is a big deal, and it amazes me that nobody is talking about it, since this can make or break the speed and time of the project. This is very important to get right the first time. On the topic of cost cutting, let's look at how the city is making cuts that will needlessly limit the Green Line's speed even further on the southeast alignment. I already talked about the Bow River downtown, but let's talk about the bridges over Deerfoot Trail and the Bow River in the southeast. At the north end, the Green Line makes this odd deviation over this piece of city property instead of running directly parallel to this existing freight corridor, which creates a seemingly needless corner here at Highfield Crescent. Instead of deviating lines like this, the Green Line should stay parallel along the existing Calgary Industrial Line while crossing Deerfoot Trail. On the south end, the opposite problem is true, where the Green Line stays with the Industrial Line and hugs onto it for too long. A gentler, easier corner should be preferred here, and as you can see, there's plenty of space over top of this empty field to accommodate such a thing. This ensures better speed adherence and speeds of travel times by allowing trains to achieve speed quickly and to maintain top speed for longer, especially considering the distance between Highfield and Linwood Milliken stations, which is pretty far. Lastly, there is this seemingly pointless S-curve here in Quarry Park that travels over this empty lot instead of traveling in a straighter line over this RV storage park, which would make a real impact in the distance between Quarry Park and Douglas Glen stations, which while are close together, have a lot of curves, so speeding them up would improve the trip time. The Green Line will also serve as an important connection to Calgary International Airport via either a direct branch link or the East-West Airport shuttle. Regardless of what is chosen, 96th Avenue Station should be moved south from its current location north of 96th Avenue. This would allow for a better transfer point should the Green Line preferably run directly to the airport in the future. There is ample space through this parking lot for a gentle curve via a tunnel or bridge that would branch the Green Line towards the airport, and there's plenty of space south of 96th Avenue to accommodate a station. In the meantime, the current East-West Airport shuttle should be planned with a cross-platform transfer at 96th Avenue Station. This way, a seamless transfer exists between the two lines, allowing for riders to simply cross the platform instead of having to exit their train, walk through a station building, go down some escalators to the tracks, and get on the train. Transfers could be timed too, so that no waiting is required and a trip to and from the airport is somewhat seamless with this current approach. That's my wrap on the Green Line. It's a long overdue project that has the potential to fix Calgary's lack of rail transportation or severely underperform with poor ridership if left the same. I think I've covered all the fixes the Green Line needs to achieve success as a proper high-capacity, high-speed metro line, but I'd love to hear your suggestions in the comments. As usual, if you feel this is important, get the conversations going with your friends and family, and be sure to share your thoughts through emails and letters with your local politicians and representatives. The more awareness, the more likely this project will be rescued in time. If you like transit, cities, and urbanism, feel free to hit those like and subscribe buttons. As usual, I'm down to chat in the comments. Throw your video suggestions down there as well. I'm already working on some, so let me know what you guys want to see. Regardless, keep transiting and have a great rest of your day, guys.